All right, welcome everyone to the rejoining of Conic and the Aladdin A team. So here we are, 1 week later, and we're trying a new thing here with these broadcasts. We've gotten some really positive feedback on them so far, and so we're going to give that a try here, and hopefully it works out well for everybody. So thanks for joining us today, and yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and kick it off with some introductions. I'll start off with the A team. I'm Kay Metz, and I'm also joined by DeFi Advisor. Hello, sir.
What's up? What's up? Nice to be on.
Yeah, and
Fun to
also
start
joined.
broadcasting.
Absolutely, and joined also as well with from the A team, Cryptovestor. Hello, sir. He'll be in and out on the call, but yeah, he's joining us as well. And then also we have Pims the Bat Llama, who will be representing Conic. Hello, Pims.
Oh yeah.
Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And then we also have Robo Odin.
Hello.
How's that new fiber connection working out for you, Robo Odin?
I am loving it. I'm now in the future, so it's kind of great.
Man, you have such a good radio voice, Robot.
Well, I appreciate it. Now that people can hear me and it doesn't sound like I'm staticky from my cell phone.
Absolutely.
I think you sound amazing, actually.
Yeah, you're clear as a bell. Everybody sounds
Hello?
great today. So
Yeah, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir. We
Yeah.
can.
Perfect.
What's up?
All right. Well, let's dive right into it because I think everybody's really excited to learn all about Conic today, the features you guys provide. But first, let's get into a little bit of background on you two. Pims, can you give us a little bit of a background on yourself? What maybe your professional background is, without getting too deep into it, and then like how you got into crypto and DeFi and how that led you to Conic.
Cool. Yes, let's start there. So, I'm Pims. I have a background in engineering. I won't give you more details, but I've always been a geek, and I got into the tech side of Bitcoin in 2014. But I lost interest after a couple of months and deeply regrets it now. But that's how it is. I got back into the blockchain technology in 2017. I had a phase as a Bitcoin maximalist in 2018. Started to really pay attention to Ethereum in 2019. And I got into DeFi during DeFi summer of 2020. And that's when I really got obsessed with everything we are talking about now. I still had some time to trade shitcoin in 2021, like many of us, but we won't admit it. I'm trying hard not to go back to it when I see what's happening on Solana at the moment, but I control my pulsions. And I really enjoyed the bear market in 2022, 2023. I know that we all got wrecked. Our portfolio got wrecked, but it allowed us to sort of refocus, I think. And in my case, I deep dive into the Curve ecosystem. And in Conic in particular. That's when Conic popped on my radar because I was trying to find solutions to manage my own assets. And here we are.
Excellent. Thank you for that introduction, sir. It sounds like you've had an eventful introduction to crypto, just like the rest of us. So we're glad you found your way here with us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And Robo, kind of the same question for you. Kind of what's your background, how you got into crypto and DeFi, and how that got you to Conic.
Well, of course, like probably all of us here, my friends were begging me, hey, there's this Bitcoin thing, you should get into it. And I was like, nah, $5, that's a scam. And so much later, I got into trading the weirdest of coins in 2017 that makes Solana look like they're blue chips. And that was going fine. And then I'd worked up to half a Bitcoin. So I was all excited. And then Cryptopia gets hacked. And I kind of got salty about crypto in general, kind of went more into, I started studying cybersecurity, and then I kind of got pulled back into it during DeFi Summer 2021. I missed the first one. And so then I've just been here the whole time. So yeah, no, I've been enjoying it. I would like to get more into the security side of things personally, but right now there's too much shiny narratives. It's fine to just keep into trading.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and I know that you're involved in quite a few projects here in DeFi that overlap with Aladdin as well. So
Yeah, I kind of wear a lot of hats, all unofficially. There's very few projects that I'm actually officially helping out and working for. And so like Conic is one of them. I really like Conic, and I like Omnipools in general. I think it's cool tech. So yeah, that's where I kind of come from.
Fabulous, man. Well, we are glad you guys are here with us today to basically talk all things DeFi and focus on Conic today. So what is, let's talk about it like at a very high level here, and then kind of dive into some details. Like what's Conic? Like how does it fit into DeFi, and what's the best way to use it? Either one of you can kick it off.
Okay, so the elevator pitch, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So very high levels first. Conic introduces the first successful implementation of omnipools. So that's really the key word here, omnipools. And so what's an omnipool? Let's say you have some precious assets like CRV USD, USDC, or ETH that you want to deposit on Curve and Convex to keep them productive. Usually, if you've tried doing that in the past, you run into two headaches. First, you need to choose a pool, and that's not trivial because you have a variety of pools where you can pool those assets. Variety of yields, and you can be tempted to put it in the highest yield one, but that usually comes with a higher risk profile, right? I'm keeping it very simple here. Or you can also decide to split this allocation between various Curve pools, but then you have to just repeat that operation and pay the gas fees, and we all suffer at the moment about that. So that's your first headache. The second headache is you will need to keep your eyes on the ball. You will need to keep adjusting your position depending on the evolution of the market, because the yield will fluctuate, the risk profile will fluctuate, and so you need to be able to adjust that position during the time that passes. Comes in omnipools, because with omnipools you can deposit your assets, and that's it. You're done. What happens is that the contracts underlying omnipools will take care of splitting your assets. So let's talk about ETH. It will split your ETH across multiple relevant pools that are exposed to ETH. And the DAO, so a bunch of smart people, well, VLCNC holder, and I'm one of them. So let's say a bunch of smart people and me will be taking care of first selecting the underlying pools. So that's what we call whitelisting. We will select pools that are that have a proper risk profile, that are relevant in terms of yield. We can also remove a pool if they are not performing properly, or if there is any specific risk linked to them. And every 2 weeks, the VLCNC holders vote to rebalance the liquidity across all those whitelisted pools. So as the yield evolves, as the risk profile evolves, we will rebalance the liquidity to keep it optimized at all time. So basically, your fund will receive yield from the base Curve APR, CRV incentive on top of that from Curve, CVX incentives from Convex, and a nice addition of CNC on top of all of this. So TLDR, you'll get high yield, You get a risk management approach through diversification, simply because you don't have all your eggs in the same basket, and that is dynamic. It will adjust to market conditions, and that's the elevator pitch from the user perspective. Where I live, we have very slow elevators, so that was a bit long. I'll pause there.
No, I agree with that. I think there's been many a time where I have entered a pool and then some shiny new narrative pops out that takes half of what I was doing. So it's either a stable or Ethereum. And it's like, oh, well, I don't want to eat all of those costs to go chase it. And I don't know how long that's going to be around. And a lot of that fear kind of goes away because you're exposed to so much more. You're not having to constantly stick around at your pools and be like, all right, which is the most optimal? And then in general, Conic kind of picks the safer. So we got stable coins, and the stable coins usually have stricter requirements. So you're not getting degenerate yields, but I don't think it's really for that. And then especially during this last couple bear market months, years, it's been higher than average yield. So it's been a great place to kind of park. I mean, I know they've been disabled because of the hack, but it's been a great place to park almost anywhere with lower risk.
Yeah, and so how long has Conic been live for now? Sort of like the V2. What kind of pools can people expect? Investment opportunities on Conic can they expect right now?
Well,
So at the moment,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So it's relaunched. V2 launched, I forgot, what, a couple of months ago?
Yeah, it's been a few
correct
months.
me if I'm wrong. And currently there are 3 Omni pools. You have CRV USD, USDC, and an ETH one.
So just I want to kind of chime in a little bit. It's really fascinating. So basically, what it's doing is it's doing all the work for you by hopping between different pools on Curve without having to worry about, withdrawing and depositing back and earning the highest possible yield. Is that basically it?
Yeah. So that's a big part of it. You're focused on your exposure to, say, Curve USD, and you have a big pool of Curve USD, and so the underlying pools have already been whitelisted, so you can kind of get an idea where that yield will come from, but it will go for what's kind of the best at any time, also based on voting.
Okay, interesting. Oh, now that makes a lot more sense. I'm really glad. That totally clears things up a lot for me. So yeah, you can definitely get the highest yield and probably some of the safest, like you said, because it's related to stable coins. I like that. Very interesting. Cool.
Well, some of the things to get whitelisted is you have to pretty much be about 10 million in the Curve pool. So they're looking for kind of more mature stable coins is the key for now.
Okay. And is there a governance process to get whitelisted, I assume?
Yes, there is a governance process. There's a whole forums. Vote locked CNC holders are the main people that vote. And for example, just recently, Trident came in and posted to get Pay USD whitelisted as not a direction, or as the pool itself as a direction for the tokens. So not quite yet like PYUSD Omni pool, but one of the pools as a direction.
Oh, nice. All right. So you're working with them. That's really positive. That's great.
But they came out completely from nowhere. I'm assuming completely nowhere. They came to the forums and they just posted governments, and people talked about it. So anybody can do that. Is
there plans for there to be an actual Omni pool for PYUSD, or is that too much alpha?
So again, we didn't do the disclaimer at first that PIMS and I are just the community council. We are we're community people. We help the team, but we're not the team. But no, it's one of those. It's a step in the right
in that direction.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Of course.
Yeah. The
Of
alpha
course.
on this call has escalated quickly, it seems.
Yeah, I like to extract alpha.
Good job, man. Good
Yeah.
job. Good job. And by the way, I don't think that I know of anyone more in contact with Trident and PYUSD guys than yourself, Cryptovestor. So
Yeah, I know the guys pretty well. So if anybody needs an introduction, I bet you guys are already talking to them.
You might have some
Yeah,
interesting stuff to dig into there.
Well,
maybe I can nudge them a little bit. Maybe I can nudge them. Hey, let's get an Omnipool set up.
Well, so for example, MKUSD just got whitelisted or appealed for whitelisting for Curve USD. So they're now a destination there. And again, this is a good step towards them being an actual MKUSD Omnipool.
Okay.
And I think it's important to emphasize that anyone can come and propose. Anyone can jump in the forum and propose to be added, as long as it makes sense, as long as it reaches the threshold.
Yeah.
And then the governance, the people really decide.
The threshold, it's an oracle that I believe, I'm pretty sure it is just Chainlink, or at least Chainlink level, and then 10 million TVL. So those are two of the main things.
Okay. The requirements. So we're good for FXUSD, right?
The official word, because I brought this up to the team, is they're looking at it, but it might be a little premature this early.
Right. Sure.
But I mean, absolutely. And so the way there's a theory about omnipools, and I've talked to Pens about this. There's a user, and I'm going to butcher his name. I'm so sorry, but it's Desu.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And he wrote a theory, and this is why I've been so bullish on omnipools in general. But he wrote a theory a year ago, basically right when Curve USD is coming out. But his idea was that, so essentially, omnipools they're not just auto compounders, because people think of it just as they're looking at focus on yield. But an omnipool itself can kind of act as a decentralized broker, especially when these rates start going up, these borrow rates. So if you're trying to get buy pressure on, say, Curve USD, you could then throw in a lot more on the other side of it. And so that causes this buy pressure to start, or sell pressure. And so it's like you can start playing that game of balance. And so it's like, oh, there's not enough interest now. Okay, now I need to flip it.
And just a quick question I had, based on what you were saying, does that mean that I assume that there's a way to incentivize the omnipools directly? Is that true? I know that.
So there is emissions with Conic.
Okay.
And then there has been talks with basically vote incentives.
Vote market.
Because I know, shout out to your next guest, but Paladin had talked about this.
Sure.
And Paladin has talked about how omnipools specifically kind of help them with liquidity directing. It becomes this another step in the flywheel. And so there isn't quite bribes yet. There's a whole meme in the community about when bribes.
Right.
They're not here yet, but it's set up to be.
But my bigger point is, I remember when CRV USD came out, last year, that Mitch was playing around with the mechanisms a little bit to try and incentivize or create a supply sink for CRV USD. And I remember him, I think he manually, incentivized the pool, and it created a spike in CRV USD demand. I'm just curious. I mean, 'cause that's how I remember Conic, because I remember Conic as a supply sink for a lot of these, especially for CRV USD. So is that functionality still in place? And can people manually do this, or I know you're looking to do it directly with the vote markets, which is more for the broader market to be able to incentivize.
But no, I mean, a protocol can show up and say, hey, I want to lower my rates. They could dump a ton of USDC in, knowing that again, we're using Curve USD as the example, so
Right.
that causes the buy pressure.
Right.
And
Okay.
so they can play in this very abstracted way a completely different game than the average user. The average user is looking for best yield, and
Right.
that's good. That's what they should be.
Right.
But so that it kind of creates this whole thing where Conic is acting, where it's like a lot of the little fish together are becoming this giant whale of stablecoins,
Mhm.
or
Now I get it.
Ethereum, because we have an Ethereum omnipool.
Very good.
So yeah, it becomes this very, very interesting concept. Now again, it's a theory. Desu put out the article.
Desu.
Which again, I'll post a link on the bottom of Twitter right after this. But this was when Curve USD just came out, so some of this might be kind of outdated now, but I still look at that all the time because I think that's a fantastic concept of omnipools.
Yeah, he does some pretty amazing like charting and diagrams and stuff. Like I've seen some of his work before, and I'd be interested to see that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's kind of how I kind of remember. When Conic first launched, like I remember the excitement. I think that some of the people in the Curve community had because of what kind of effect it could have on CRV USD demand. Kind of interesting. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the explanation. I think that's very, very insightful.
Well, yeah. Well, and so again, when you're pushing towards the FX USD or soon our USD, but when you're pushing towards those, because there's you guys are already doing very well. There's already a ton of pairs, so it's very easy to say, hey, we have X pair. Can we be whitelisted for this omnipool? And if it meets the criteria, yeah, but that's a great step beforehand, because as an omnipool itself, whatever's on Curve is the focus at the moment. It opens a lot of interesting concepts towards the stability pools. It gets really interesting as a tool that I think the average user is not looking at Conic for.
Right.
And I wanted to bounce on your question, CryptoVester, because I think there is one thing that needs to be really clear for the listeners that don't necessarily know Conic. One of the beauty of it from the protocol perspective is that when you own VLCNC, you vote, and your vote direct liquidity, full stop. You're not directing incentives. You are actually voting where the liquidity is going within the omnipool. And this is very powerful.
That's powerful. Okay. Okay, I get it. I see. You're not voting for the incentives to going into pool. You're voting where the money goes next, which pool it goes next into.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. You're turning a bunch of smaller players into
a big player,
a very
like a whale, like you said,
centralized whale. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Something just clicked in my mind. You just like exploded my mind here. Okay, got it. Very cool.
Yeah, and that's why I think that's a complex theory towards omnipools, because most people look at it as, oh, I'm getting slightly higher than an auto compounder. It's like, well, that's not really the point. It's actually, you can do all of this really cool concepts for protocols, for whatever.
Right. So you're basically directing where all of the TVL for that pool goes to next, and that's huge because that's why protocols are so interested in incentivizing or dumping, like you said, dumping incentives so that they can, or voting, to move liquidity or to move the whale, so to speak, from one pool to another.
Well, yeah. And so that's the thing is right now, a protocol can do it themselves. Anybody can do it themselves, but they can throw it in there. But it will eventually get to the point where it is cheaper and more efficient for them to just, hey, vote locked Conic people, please do this. And yeah, so
that's powerful.
Interesting tool.
What's the TVL currently right now?
I'll double check. I think it's 13 million.
Okay.
It's 12.5 right now.
Right. And what was the height? Like
the height pre-hack was about 100 million, I want to say.
Holy cow. So you're basically directing $100 million whale around.
Yes.
It was at the top, it was $156 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, that's huge.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was doing that.
It was most of the CRV USD, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it was mostly.
Conic.
Well, no, we had some. I mean, it was something like I want to say 90% of CRV USD was
Yeah.
in Conic.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
I mean,
That's what I mean.
yeah,
Like that, it was the place to take CRV USD. Like it was its best
Right.
use case back then.
It was the best supply sync for CRV USD at the time. That makes a ton of sense.
If I'm not mistaken, basically Conic serves as a great way to basically stabilize CRV USD because of the peg keeper for Curve. Is that correct?
yeah. That's what I was talking about with the rates. So
Mhm.
you have, because if people, instead of just constantly jacking up rates, I mean, that is a whole other dynamic entity. You can create the buy and sell pressure by just playing that part of the Omni pool. So instead of like you need it to go down, you're pumping up a lot of Curve USD. You need it to go up, you want the buy pressure. So you're throwing in lots more USDC, for example, and that causes the APY. So people should balance that out.
Mm,
Interesting.
yeah, that's really interesting.
And so does Conic, is it VE tokenomics? Do you guys have like CNC emissions going to the Omni pools or anything like
They
that?
have VLCNC, I think it's called, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Yes,
there
correct.
is. Yes.
There's just no bribe market yet. That's
Well,
what's the
no
missing
one-
piece, right?
Yeah, their markets have been talked about, and
Right.
they're pretty sure there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes talked about, but there are not incentivizers right now. No,
Right,
but there also one of the things going on is bonding. We have a bonding as part of the payback the debt for people that lost in the hack, and that's been pretty successful so far each week.
Right.
And
by the
that,
way,
well, what is taken from that is given as yield to vote lock Conic holders, the actual LP itself that is bonded in.
Interesting.
man, we're talking to a bribe market today. I'm pretty sure later on. No.
Yeah.
Well, Paladin,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a very bullish Paladin. In my personal biases, all of them are great.
Yeah.
But no, Paladin's been very proactive in the community.
So maybe taking it to FX USD, if we were to ever, be on, have an Omni, or maybe not even just an Omni pool, but get whitelisted as a like, I don't know what you call it, like a director, or
Well, it would be a
that would be
destination.
a destination. Okay, so yeah, then what would technically happen is, that curve pool would be added to the list, and then these votes would basically direct liquidity directly to the pool, depending on how many votes are there for FXUSD. Is that how? That could be very powerful for FX because of its yield. I mean, FXUSD is going to be one of the higher APY pools, I think, on Curve. So remains to be seen. We're still watching that, but that could be very, very powerful incentive there.
So without being an Omni pool yourself, you're basically incentivizing the other side of FXUSD or RUSD.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, that's super
Exactly.
awesome. I think
You really
it's
have two
a
sides of
complicated
it.
concept.
Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I think we may have had a connection issue with CryptoVest.
Yeah, I lost them as well.
Okay, well, so I was going to say, so first, we're speculating here, but assuming that things go well and TVL goes up, both in Conic and FX protocol. And again, I'm sorry, I usually give that disclaimer at the beginning. Robo and I, we are not core team members. So this is pure speculation here. But you really have two interesting things for FXUSD. On one side, getting FX currently, for example, the FXUSD USDC pool and the FXUSD CRV USD can be whitelisted and added to their respective existing Omni pool. So that's one thing that would be a win for FX because it will attract and direct liquidity to those pools. And then the other step, and we can start dreaming of an FXUSD Omni pool, some sort of an Omni pool to bind all those cool FXUSD pool that will generate yield under a single Omni pool. And that's sort of what CRV USD Omnipool was when it was released, and it attracted, well, what we were discussing about, almost all the CRV USD at some point. So, but here we're dreaming, speculating, but that's cool at the end of the day.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way either. Like, you just opened my eyes up to another concept of these other pool, like these 9 pools that are FXUSD related, because of all these different parties that paired with FXUSD would be part of this sort of part of this. I don't know what you call it. Like, I'm still I'm learning, so I'm trying to understand. But yeah, no, that seems really interesting.
Yeah. Well,
simply put, if you have FXUSD, you don't want to have to choose one of those pools. If you drop your FXUSD in an Omni pool, you know that you're going to get the best yield out of all those underlying curve pools.
And the votes is directed each week, right? So the movements from one pool to another is from week to week, right?
Bi-weekly, every 2 weeks.
Bi-weekly, okay, yeah. So you're guaranteed a pretty good return based on the APR for that period, and over a longer period of time, you're getting the better yield.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Awesome. We need to do something with you guys.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really plug and play, right? It sounds like anyone can sort of like if you have a curve LP or some sort of a gauged system or anything that can be incentivized by additional liquidity, Conic can be a part of it. Am I understanding that right?
I mean, there are requirements. So, example, there on the forums, they're talking about to remove some of the destinations because they have either dropped so much. For example, there's a cap to remove Frax Curve USD as a pair for the Curve USD Omnipool because that specific TVL pair is only 2.3 million, and the destinations tend to be 10 million just as a security feature of a DPEG they could pull out in time. And then also general APY. The APY of that specific pair has fallen compared to the rest of the Omnipool, so it would kind of like drag down the APY in general. So, I mean, they constantly analyze and evaluate the pairs in each Omnipool. It's not just it got voted once 7 months ago and now we're stuck with it. Like, no, they constantly remove, analyze the health of it.
Optimizing.
Yes,
constantly.
optimize constantly.
Wow. And just a quick question related to something you said, Robo. The DPEG situation, like you said that there needs to be some kind of threshold, liquidity threshold, so 10 million. Is that done from a smart contract perspective, or someone? How is something like that, some kind of a DPEG event, handled from Conic's perspective?
That I'll have to let Penstock.
Okay.
So there is a mechanism to protect from that. There is a check, and I don't remember the threshold by heart, but if there is one of the underlying assets in a pool, in a whitelisted pool that depegs, automatically the weight of that curve pool will be set to 0, so that the liquidity sort of flies to safety away from that pool.
So it's auto withdrawn from a smart contract perspective.
So the rebalancing is, the weight is set to 0. I don't want to say anything wrong here, so I'll pause, because you don't withdraw. I don't think we withdraw. I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you.
As long as no, that's fine. I get it. But there's like a mechanism in place to correct if there's like some kind of a DPEG event.
Absolutely, yes.
That's okay. Got it. Perfect.
Yeah, because I believe one was triggered not too long ago of a potential DPEG on the other side, but I'd have to look that up right now.
And you guys primarily focus on stable coins, right? Like that's the main focus.
No,
Ethereum's in there, yeah.
Yes.
Ethereum's in there. That's right. Okay. Got it.
But it's not just limited to stablecoins and ETH, right? It can.
Well, so the team, we could talk a little bit about dreams and roadmaps.
Let's talk about it.
nothing official. It's just things the team has looked towards.
Sure.
But some of those things have been considered. Either, and like I have a little list here, but potentially any volatile F omnipool. So anything that is paired with Ethereum on a curve pool can be whitelisted. Again, these are just things that they're exploring because they like to test. They're very good about building and testing. But yeah, that opens a whole lot more in the potential.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Interesting.
But one of the other things they had been looking towards was, I mean, unfortunately, for better or worse, it's the name of the game right now, but a WSTF omnipool. So LPs could then earn multiple
Sorry,
points.
can you repeat that?
Yeah.
Again, nothing official. They're just exploring. But a WST ETH omnipool.
Okay.
Which could allow the Conic LPs to earn multiple points via a single LP token, and you're still getting exposed to multiple LRTs.
The world we live in today, huh?
Unfortunately,
I
but
see.
hey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just part of the dynamic, I guess.
For the left curve people like me in the chat, we're talking about an LRT omnipool basically, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. Absolutely. Sure.
Well, that was very cool. That was one of the upgrades from V1 to V2. Is V1 was exclusively just curve, and so one of the things that kind of opened up the door is for, say, Prisma, to bring Prisma into the omnipool fold.
Is there even an opportunity down the road for something like RUSD with the amount of points that it can be earning? I'm talking like crazy talk here, not even talking like.
Why no? Well, I mean, it gets into that, like, it depends on the pairs, because I think the reason RUSD exists is because most people are focused on Ethereum based LRTs, not even stablecoin based potential of that. So, I mean, yeah, it gets into some. It
gets pretty wild.
Yeah,
it gets pretty wild
because it would have to be something like if it's just a specific. I mean, because there's too many of them. The WSTF omnipool, it would have to be. Then the other side of that would be the RUSD. If you see what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Feels like stablecoin inception to me.
I mean, yeah. Building a house of points.
I know.
Very fragile house of points, but
very fragile. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But that is some of the things. Also, I mean, there's other ideas that they want to talk about. I'll let Pims cover those.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your ideas, or it's interesting to talk about and let people know in the audience too.
Well, we're still talking about ideas that the team is exploring, because basically that's the alpha. And one of them is a governance upgrade. And that would mean that the liquidity allocation votes, so those votes that we have every 2 weeks, for now, they direct the liquidity, right? But to do an upgrade to that governance so that those LAVs control also the CNC inflation, as well as the liquidity allocation rate. So, well, we don't have more information than that. We let the community wrap their heads around that.
Control inflation. That sounds good.
So, exactly. We start directing the CNC as the CNC as well, and well, that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
And the last thing, the last piece of alpha, and bear with us because this is cool, but we can't answer questions because we don't know. But so a Con ETH, so that it doesn't have a name, an ETH-backed stablecoin on top of Conic Finance, which would enable unique yield profiles as well as gas optimizations for smaller LPs. And that's something that many people are talking in the community, and actually everybody on mainnet is complaining about the gas fees, right? So it's a lot to process.
Wow.
We're talking about making depositing a lot cheaper, but we are talking about an ETH-backed stablecoin on top of Conic Finance.
That's cool.
An ETH-backed stablecoin by Conic Finance?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Again, it's something they're looking into. There's
Oh,
also
man.
that they did not give us much details on that, so we can only
Sure.
speculate of what
Oh
that
wow,
entails.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
The alpha.
That's juicy. That's juicy. That's juicy
That's
alpha,
good
guys.
stuff, yeah.
That's hard. That's hardcore.
The alpha on this call just keeps escalating. We should probably use this genre of bringing up community members instead of team members like the usual.
Yeah, we don't want the team members. We want the community members.
Well,
Yeah, the community members actually know what's going on and read the whole thing.
yeah,
Crazy.
So I mean, to ever get definitive answers, it's the discourse. It's our forums. That's where any actual hard proposals will be.
Yeah.
But to go with the point right before, the governance upgrade, which controls CNC inflation, there's only 10 million Conic, period. Like that's the hard cap max supply.
Whoa.
So, I mean, that gets into some very interesting things when we talk about this very elaborate tool.
Yeah, it's similar to FXN where it's like very low supply.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where oh my goodness. I probably need to get off the call because I need to get to the computer really quick. That's amazing. That is awesome, guys. That really is.
So yeah, I mean, it's one of those because again, Conic is not really a degen platform. It is this. It has a very simple set of tools. You can get some really good yield on Ethereum and stables, but as a greater over high level protocol, it's pretty complex of what it has its potential to do. And that's, I mean, omnipools are something that I think are very overlooked in the space at the moment.
Yeah, I think I think the whole Omni narrative is really just starting, and I think it's mostly because of the fact that like at least for someone like me, I'm very hesitant about Omnichain in general because I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is people hear Omni pools and they think Omni chain, and it's a completely different terminology.
Different concept.
Yeah.
Totally different thing. It's not even the same.
Like this is all, for better or worse, right now only on mainnet, and there is the potential to release these tools on other chains. That's something looked at, but the TVL for Curve is so much exclusively on mainnet for now.
Right.
Wow,
that's crazy. That is crazy.
I think you're exactly right. As people hear Omnipool and they're like, "Oh,
they're thinking Omni-chain.
I don't want to do Omni-chain. That's not. I don't want that exposure." And
that's
actually not here. Yeah,
like it's the mere the term Omni. You hear Omni in crypto, and to be honest, you're all of a sudden you're more suspicious than without hearing it.
Unfortunately, I think that's just sometimes things happen like that. It's just a naming thing and people getting a little bit confused. But now that I understand it a little bit better, it's like, now I know why it's mind bending. It's pretty crazy. So I guess you guys are going to call it CNC USD?
We don't know. I don't know what they're
I had to ask, guys.
I know. I have no idea.
Man,
okay.
You guys didn't know you were coming before the firing squad, did you?
Yeah.
Fine.
No, I think Robo Odin. I think he knew. I think he knew what he was getting himself into.
We really appreciate you officially announcing the new token. Really.
Yeah, officially, right? In points.
It's very kind.
There's no points, nothing.
No points, no LRT, no, just straight yield from the stablecoin. Oh man, that's awesome.
That's gonna be so cool. You think watching the federation around the curve assembles and man, it seems like every week and sometimes even twice a day. Like today, we're talking about projects from within the ecosystem that are really moving the whole thing and steering the whole thing into such interesting direction, which are starting to become more and more composable with one another and leverage on top of each other. Man, I'm so excited and curious about all of that. And it actually leads me to another question that I want to ask you guys, Pims and Robo. Do you think that the fact that the community, do you think that the fact that the team is anon to that level on Conic, do you think it actually creates a situation in which the community is actually more involved and the whole process itself is actually more transparent than on maybe on some other places? Because I really think that, honestly, I've never heard the Conic team itself speaks themselves. I don't think that I think I know who one of them is, what's his X account. But other than that, I'm pretty sure that most of what's going on is probably going on the inner channels.
That's a good point. I don't hear a lot about the actual founders or anything. I hear a lot from the community, but I don't really hear a lot from the founders.
Yeah, it's because they're anon to a high they're high level.
They are.
They're like C2.
Yeah, and I'm very curious. How do you guys, as community members, how do you think that this kind of stuff affects the project? I kind of think that this has a positive effect on Conic, maybe.
I would say it would be detrimental to the project if the anon devs were just, oh, hey, we did this. Okay, this is where we're going next. This is the next pool. But it's a slogan and meme in the community of we like to vote. And so so much is pushed towards governance. And I know governance and DeFi gets various levels. But I mean, what gets whitelisted, and if you go to the forums, you'll have team members being like, I don't think this is a good idea, but overwhelmingly it's like, okay, hey, it got voted in. And they're usually good. I mean, it's not just I don't like this protocol. It's like, well, hey, this didn't do very well in V1. There isn't that much demand for this, so we'd be putting resources to that. I think they have to be more transparent. Isn't the word. They have to be more inclusive of the community because they're so
right. Or I understand that.
And I think if they didn't, Conic wouldn't be successful at all. Because if they just tried to rubber stamp it, they'd be like, who is this? Why do we care?
I can totally relate to that. Yeah.
They are anon to the next level. They are extremely careful in protecting this. There are lots of speculation on who they are. My personal theory is that they are actual droids in another galaxy, and so they cannot say that because the world would freak out. But more seriously, it's you have the occasional person jumping in the Discord. Our team is anon. This is too risky. I'm out. Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, I completely also understand it. I think we are at a point where they shipped so much that it makes little sense to approach it from that angle. So I don't think that anonymity now is really a problem. I think it solves a lot of trouble on the legal side of things. And finally, I would say that it's really cool to work with them. It's the first time I'm working with a full anon team, all exclusively in writing. The only thing that sucks is knowing I will never be able to meet them. But there is a real community that is being built. And the last thing is, if you spend time in the Discord, it's not about ego. You have no one trying to, as Robo said, saying that they build something. No, they are building something and they are putting it outside. They don't communicate as much as some people would like, because they are focused on shipping something. And that's really beautiful. And that's part of that team and that community spirit that has been built. So it's I would really invite people, join the Discord, spend time there. You will feel that.
Man, this is so cool, honestly. You're really getting me very curious about
you're getting Conic pilled.
Both, yeah, for sure. First of all, I think that this talk was, for me personally, first of all, these were the best explanations about Conic and the best presentation of it that I personally heard. And I do think that as a community, you guys should be on as many of these as you can, because I think that so many people are still not realizing what Conic is, and I'm pretty sure that because of the Omni narrative, first of all, there are surely a lot of misperceptions about Conic, maybe also because of the anonymity side, but I actually do think that it seems more and more like an advantage on your side. And honestly, I do think that governance in DeFi and crypto, it presents actually so many challenges that you guys are actually right. Like there are a lot of advantages of it being like fully transparent and fully anonymized, or however you say that. And I'm very curious of actually like realizing, like getting a better realization of how these processes and stuff is actually going on within Conic, and like to learn more about the culture with there, because I think culture within all these DAOs and organization is a huge thing. I think that that's definitely one of the things that attracted me to Aladdin, was like the culture and the way like that the community interacted with and around the team and with the project itself. And man, like you guys have a very big vision there. Like where do you guys see like Conic maybe in a few years from now? Like how do you see its role? What's your aspirations in the long run with Conic?
All right. Well, right before we get into in the near term, I think a lot of people are also kind of sidelined on Conic, more so because a major hack happened, and so they just want to make sure everything has like settled around that. And so, in fact, on the UI itself, you can go and get the 3 main audits. They've been very focused more on security, I think, than other parts of building. Because of that, because of the slower pace, they're taking a very, not slower isn't the right word, intentional pace towards building something that works and that can scale. I think they're going to be a very essential tool. I don't think Omni pools are going away. I think liquidity direction is something that fixes a inefficiency in the market that everyone from small fish to big whales can use. So no, I think Conic is really just ramping up. I think the hack kind of set them back. I think they would have been the TVL even significantly higher than their all-time high just from the upgrades they have done. But I mean, I truly think they're creating some very interesting tools that are just very unique, especially for Curve. And as Curve is becoming the destination for stablecoin Fi, which is something that, I mean, I don't have to explain it to you guys. You all love stablecoin Fi. But as that becomes more mature and as DeFi in general becomes more mature, I think tools like Conic and Curve are going to excel beyond anything that we can dream of at the moment. I mean, we already have PayPal through Trident coming into use Conic, of all things. I mean, that is something that
that's huge.
I couldn't have guessed when Conic was announced. I couldn't have guessed. I mean, I knew like the CVX5 guys were bringing Trident into Curve, but I would not have guessed that early, especially I call Conic's second phase, or recovery phase. I would never have guessed a major institution like that using them.
It's pretty cool, man. It's been interesting to see how everybody has become a part of, sort of like seeing the sort of TradFi come into the space and sort of basically, kind of start dipping their toes in and see how they're, how they're taking this on. So, yeah. So hang on. One of the cool things I want to show here that I want to pop it up here on the screen for folks to see is
you're getting fancy, Kenneth.
Well, I'm
look at you.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best here. So
no. This is 2024, guys. Like,
but this is the screenshot of Conic Finance, and it looks
like
a Mac.
It
It's
does.
awesome.
It looks like a Mac, and it's
Well, I mean, like you have the different apps. You have your locker, your bonding, your omnipools. But and then, as I said, top left, you have your audits. I mean, it's all right there. They try to do news. They try to do. I mean, you got your price. Everything you need for Conic is right there.
Man, you got a good designer over there, okay?
Oh no!
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, I think UIs in general are a weak point for most of DeFi, and I think they excel at it.
Man, this website looks good, like really good. I mean, it even like watching this, I'm liking how it looks.
I always keep trying to grab the uh, the icons and drag them around. I think it's so fun. It's pretty neat. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I'll say this, like speaking to the whole Anon thing and the Trident guys. I know what it's like because I'm constantly interfacing with with the CVX community, and they're obviously C2 is very and Winnie are very private. So I understand the frustration, and it could be difficult sometimes, but it really shouldn't dictate what the product is doing. And I think that over the long term, you guys are going to see some serious success. But going back to being that they're so anonymous, just curious, like how hard is it to really get something whitelisted? And like let's say a certain stablecoin gets up to 100 million in TVL. Like how difficult is it to get well, let's say it's a stable coin we're very fond of, something like FX USD. Let's say that got up to a certain TVL. How difficult would it be?
I mean, you just write to them on Telegram or Discord, and they will answer to you right away.
Right away.
Yeah, and then
Is
you
it?
still have to do the governance proposal, of course, but
Are they good communicators? Like, are they good at are they quick to respond?
I am.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, this is.
Well, I mean, I know you guys talk to them. I haven't really personally, but I know you guys talk to them, so I'm asking just out of curiosity.
I talk to a lot of different teams. And there are teams that I think are fantastic builders that won't reply to me for about a week.
Oof, yeah,
And
bad.
In fact, I found out for the same team, I found out their biz dev was on the other side of the world. I was like, oh, he's just really busy. No. But no, Conic are pretty quick, I would say.
Okay.
That being said, because they receive a lot of a lot of people are trying to talk to them, right? I would say talk to us. Come talk to us, which you did, but I'm talking more about for the listeners. We have to filter some time, and that might help as well.
But I mean, just coming onto the Discord and saying like, "Hey, this is who we are. We want to get to the next step before we write a governance proposal." Like, there's quite a few council members. The community itself is fairly friendly.
Absolutely. Just join. You will feel, you get a feel for yourself.
And so, for example, again with Trident, I don't know before the proposal how much behind the scenes was done, and I'm sure there was. But I mean, they got from the point of proposal and discussion to actually getting whitelisted was a very, very quick process. Because they met all the criteria. They're a good pool. And so, I think it's a pretty quick process. And if a pool truly had, 100 million TVL, I think it'd be very easy to show.
Exactly.
Well, guys, I mean, this has been so eye-opening, and gosh, wildly educational for me. I just kind of wanted to sit and listen to you guys talk about Conic. It's always kind of been on my radar. I've never had a chance to sort of like kind of do a deep dive, and you guys have really kind of laid out the whole ecosystem and a little bit of the roadmap, and talked all about the ways that protocols and users can utilize Conic. So, man, we're winding things down here. Just kind of curious if you guys have any sort of last words, any other additional information you want to share with folks.
No, well, thanks for having us. I think you're right about Conic has kind of been, they've been in building mode. So it's good to have us come out and kind of like, hey guys, look, they're building. But there's a lot behind the scenes that they're planning and plotting and experimenting with. And so, as I said earlier, to actually get the real alpha is check the governance forum, because they will post it before implementing anything. They're like, this is what we're going to work on.
Can you add it as a comment, maybe to the broadcast? Or,
Yeah, I mean, it's just gov.conic finance, but I will add that.
That's so cool. That's so cool, really, and I really enjoyed this talk. Honestly, it was the best explanation for me about what Conic is all about, and to really start grasping like how big the project is and can be, and the kind of culture that it has. I'm honestly very curious, and thank you both for coming. Really happy that we rescheduled it again, by the way. And by the way, guys, this is for sure our biggest broadcast or space yet. Over 1,300 people from what I'm seeing right now.
Unbelievable.
And that's just on X, by the way. Like this is insane. Like this is insane.
I think the move to Restream really helped. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, I think X is really pushing broadcast. Like I think X is trying to be like the streaming kingdom, and I think they're like they decided that they're going to do it. And both on Leviathan and on A-Team DeFi, I think that maybe it's just because CryptoVestor is on, because it usually happens when CryptoVestor is on the stream.
There you go.
I mean, it could be. It could be.
And honestly, CryptoVestor, I really enjoyed your like questions today and like natural curiosity. I really think it led the conversation into very interesting places, and I really respect the fact that you guys had such great answers to everything, guys. And looking forward to see what you guys do. And everyone, for sure, check out Conic Finance on their Discord, look them up on Twitter, and for sure check out their website and not financial advice, of course, due diligence and all that stuff. And
I also look forward to the FXUSD or RUSD adding it on the governance forum. I'm looking forward to those days.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. I'm going to DM you after the call. Maybe you can do a little intro to the founders, so we can get started on the process.
He will probably do before the call ends. Actually, the way I know him.
I'm DMing you right now, buddy. Right now.
Great job. It's man. Thanks for hosting as usual. Great job on the whole production side and introduction side as well. And by the way, guys, we have another one in about an hour, right? Maybe even less than an hour.
We have another one coming up.
Aladdin. Right. What a day. What a day.
That's right. Going to be a great time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys. I think. Oh, go ahead, Pims.
Oh no, I was just going to say thank you very much for having us, and you too on your side. Keep doing what you're doing, because it's really great to listen to you, to read what you're publishing. So thanks to the A-Team.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's 100% our pleasure, guys, and you guys deserve all the attention and accolades that you're getting with what you're doing and building. So we thank you again for doubling down and basically coming and talking to the A-Team twice. We loved it both times. This time was just even better than before, obviously.
Yeah.
And
nice hearing you, Pimps. Nice being heard.
No, absolutely.
It was a pleasure hearing you.
It's a pleasure to hear you too, Pims. Very good. And Robo Odin, same thing. Really, really great to meet you guys both.
Yes, definitely.
Look forward to working with you both to get FXUSD and RUSD on Conic.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's all we've got for this stream. So thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe, do all that you can to get the word out here about the awesomeness of Conic Finance and FX Protocol. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.